Welcome everybody to the Room250 podcast.
One tiny pixel at a time.
We all have a room 250. It's that room where creativity happens.
Bienvenidos a Room250 podcast. Room250 is where creativity happens. We are here to sit down, have a conversation, inspire our design community to crush their creative goals one pixel at a time. My name is Martin, aka Itosoy. I am here with my two best friends, Pete, Patrick Sly, and Arturo Peralta. And with that,
take a breath.
We'll take it over to Pete.
Did you say Pete Patrick Sly?
Pete
No,
Patrick Sly.
Who's Pete
Shit,
Patrick Sly?
I meant to say David Patrick Sly.
But where's Pete?
He's over there somewhere.
Man. Okay, all right. That's an intro. Don't forget to follow us on the Tiki Talkie on Instagram. Share, comment, like. Also, don't forget to hit that ring that notification bell, subscribe. Let us know what you think about these episodes. It helps out the channel big time. Thank you for your support. And over to David Sly.
For those that don't know, the Room 250 is the room where we sit down with our creatives and we have with our creatives and we have a creative hangout.
Boom.
Boom. Awesome. And we are here with our guest, the iconic Victoria Hart.
Woo! Oh, here goes.
There we go.
Woo! Victoria Hart.
That's much better. Thank you.
Yes. And before we start our
to
conversation,
assign sound effects and so on.
Yeah.
Let's. What are we drinking tonight, guys and gals?
Why don't you go first, Martin?
Me? Okay, cool. So I went and hung out with Victoria, and I got a chance to get this
In front
beer.
of your face.
Prism hard seltzer.
In front of your face.
It's in front of my face, fool. I can't
At
read
the
it. It's
camera.
in front of
This.
my face. That's right.
There we go.
All right, cool. So it's green melon guava. Let's see.
Very nice. I like that texture.
I'll see. Definitely.
Little swish. Give it a little swish.
Yeah. Tastes like melon. Green melon. I like it.
Okay.
Nice.
Melony.
When
Nice.
would you
I
have this
definitely-
beer?
Is it a summer beer?
Well, it's not. It's a hard seltzer.
Oh, it's
So-
seltzer.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would definitely. I could have this with dinner or lunch.
Okay.
Very nice.
Pete, would
very
you like
nice.
to go next?
So to continue with the theme of the beers around the world, on this episode, I'm drinking a German beer. I think it's called Spaten. Spaten? I have no idea. It's a premium lager. Spaten. Pretty cool design. Pretty cool badge. I think that's I don't know what that is. A sphere?
It's
Shovel?
like a shovel.
Something? G2 or
Looks like a
GS?
shovel.
It's a spaten. Would you call it a spaten?
It tastes like a Heineken.
Spaten.
It's pretty good.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, this is kind of like a beer if you're like at PTs and you throwing in like $20 and just sipping and hanging out with the design friends and talking about design. So really
Sweet.
actually really good beer. Yeah, nice.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I am drinking one by Little House Brewing. It is called Curb Appeal. So this one. So we start here.
Ooh, nice.
Nice little illustration of some architecture. I thought that was pretty cool. And then it is a tart wheat ale with cranberry, tangerine, and rosemary. So that'll be interesting.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that
I
sounds
like how-
lo-
Like how they pulled the metallic look from the can. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's pretty nice, huh?
Nice.
It is
Nice.
5.2%. So for you, Victoria, I tend to pick these without thinking about the percentage on them. So the last 2 episodes, I've gotten like 10% and above and not knowing. And it's just like, yeah, it's been a bit heavy. So I'll pop it.
Woo! All right.
Ooh, that's very
Thick.
it's not thick. It's just it's kind of like citrusy. And I taste the tangerine, a little bit of the cranberry. Don't taste any of the rosemary, but
That's
It's good.
though.
I could see is
I don't know if I want to taste rosemary in my
summer.
beer.
Yeah.
yeah,
Rosemary.
late
Nice.
summer. I could see drinking that, like
Well,
you know,
Nice.
hanging around.
cheers to a good
Oh.
episode.
Oh, wait.
Victoria has some
Hey.
beers.
Gonna
Oh,
show.
I have
present.
lots of beers. I don't drink, but I design all the labels. And this is one of my favorite labels from Craft House. And we will start, let's see, in front of me.
Yeah, you got to right in front
This is
Nice.
a
I've seen that one.
UNLV's
The Rebels.
Rebel
Ooh.
Spirit.
Dope.
It is a golden ale. And it's kind of hard to see, but what's happening in the background there is these vertical lines on there are from the hospitality, the new hospitality building that is down there at UNLV. And then in the background is the giant flashlight too. So you can see the bottom of the flashlight.
Yeah, I kind of see it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Which are very reminiscent icons of UNLV. And this is the only beer that UNLV beer. They were very excited. Craft House was really excited to be able to be a part of UNLV.
That's awesome.
Because they
That's
are
awesome.
alumni. Yeah.
Super awesome.
Part of
And it's
Las Vegas
really
culture.
delicious from what I've heard.
I have to definitely try that one.
Well,
Yeah.
cheers to that. We really appreciate you
Cheers.
coming on.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cool mug.
This is my little mid-century modern coffee mug, which I just love so much. It's got this cool little design on it.
Nice.
What do you think that
Very
is?
mid-mod.
You think it's
I think it's a duck.
a duck?
maybe?
I was thinking peacock or chicken.
It's
Yeah.
it's a rejected
Some sort
logo
of-
for Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. No, I like it. That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
really cool.
funky.
All right, Martin.
Awesome. So let's
Lead it up.
let's tell us how your journey got started in graphic design, or did you start as an artist, or where did you start your journey?
No, I grew up in Seattle and I was bartending at this really great fine restaurant, and then I got pregnant and thought I can't be a bartender for forever. I'm gonna have a kid. I gotta be a responsible adult. And one of my girlfriends was going to the Art Institute of Seattle, and she said, "You should go. You would really like the school. It's very artsy." And I was like, "Okay." So I enrolled, and at the time I had no idea what a graphic designer was. I just knew that I loved looking at Ray Gun magazine and Wired magazine, and I loved everything Andy Warhol ever did. And so I thought, this will be fun. And so that's kind of how I started. I went to the Art Institute of Seattle, and then at some big agencies in Seattle for a while, and then I just graduated and started my own firm, thinking I knew all that.
So let's go back to the Art Institute, because we all went to the Art Institute, so we're alumni.
Yes.
What was your experience? Because we all have, my experience with the Art Institute was I just sent them an email. They hit me up in a day or two. I was there on a Monday, enrolled by Wednesday, and by Friday I was already in school.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah. Getting through was really, really fast. When I went in Seattle, it was on this beautiful old building up on Queen Anne Hill, and it was really kind of a fine art school. And then the Art Institute bought them and moved it down to the waterfront. And so we had all these really cool fine art teachers that were really amazing. But the graphic design teacher, oh my gosh, he was the best. And of course, his name, I just can't even remember it right now, but he was so amazing and really strict and knew all the little terms for everything. And okay, and this is, I'm going to age myself a little bit here. This is before before computers came out. So we were doing Ruby Lith and all that old fashioned stuff, you know, and it was really easy. I got in, I registered, I started the next week, and this was like at 84 through 86.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Nice.
Wow.
Do you remember what the cost was back then?
No, I just remember I used to grow pot in my garage, so I paid for it really fast.
Nice.
Nice.
That's
I love it.
awesome.
Yes.
Damn it.
So,
I should have done the
that
same
was
thing.
another thing I was really glad to stop doing since I was having a baby. I was like, okay, I'm done with that portion of my life as well.
Yeah, to be legit.
Yeah.
Quite the career
I'd be-
change.
Yes, quite. So yeah, I paid it off within a year. It was awesome.
Wow.
Did you guys
That's really cool.
when you guys graduated, did you guys have to put up a show? Like when we graduated, they did a show for us, and we had a bunch of people come in and like.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, we totally did that. We had a whole portfolio. That was back in the days where you carried the big giant leather portfolio and you had everything on boards and you did a whole presentation, and then a lot of people from the community came, and a lot of and it was like a big party. All your friends and family came, and I graduated with flying colors. It was pretty awesome, and I just really had a good time in school. I met so many amazing creative people, and one of my favorite teachers was Bill Cummings. He is was a famous fine art teacher, and he taught the drawing classes. And if you look him up, he was, his paintings sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. He was a very famous artist in Seattle, and so it was such an honor to have him as a teacher. And he did a little simple drawing for me and gave it to me when I was in class. I was so excited. Now it's worth like
awesome.
$5,000 or something silly, but yeah, it was really cool.
Do you still have that picture or that drawing?
Yes, I do.
Nice.
Somewhere.
Somewhere in my portfolio somewhere.
Did you do any interning while you were at the Art Institute?
I did. Actually, I just went for a short period of time with McCann Erickson, who was downtown. My girlfriend was there, and I interned with her for a while, and that was pretty much it. After I got out of school, because I was with another girlfriend, we both just opened our own studio because one of our clients, we already kind of had a client that had like this pillow business, and she made these custom pillows. And she set us up in an office in Kirkland, right on the beach, on the waterfront. It was amazing. Wow. I was like, this is the coolest office ever. And then we started, reaching out and we got the city of Kirkland as a client and a bunch of little yacht clubs that are around Kirkland, and just started really gaining a good reputation over there in Kirkland. And then after that, I worked with her for probably about 3 years. And oh my gosh, my most embarrassing moment ever was we had a full page ad for the city of Kirkland in the newspaper, and I spelled some word wrong. And it went and it printed. And it was like, oh my gosh, how come nobody caught that? And that was back in the day where there was no spell check. You didn't do things on a computer.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was probably my biggest nightmare. And they fired us after that.
Ooh,
wow.
Damn.
So yeah, it was rough. That was really rough. My partner was really mad at me. I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. I told you I'm not a speller. I'm an artist. I can't spell.
How did you get those clients? Because it seems like you have a very wide range of clients right now. But even back then, as a fresh graduate or right out of school,
okay, so in the 80s, there were no graphic designers. Like nobody even knew what a graphic designer was. Like the whole story. I try and tell my mom what I do for a living, and they don't get it. Nobody got it. Like it really did not. I think graphic design really just came into its own in the past. Feels like 20 years to me, because I moved to Las Vegas in '94, and there were no graphic designers there either. That's how I was able to get such a great job at Westwood Studios. Because there's like only 3 people applied for it, and I was like, wow, dude, and I got in pretty easily. There were only a few agencies here in town in Las Vegas, and even I look back at the beginning of my career at Westwood, I still wasn't very good even after doing it for another, I was in the business already for 10 years. And so, I was still pretty young. at the whole graphic design thing, but I think the Lewis Castle and Brett Sperry owned Westwood Studios, and Lewis and Brett both just really took a liking because I have a very bubbly personality.
Mm-hmm.
So they really liked me, and that really helped. So, and they were a real kind of, small studio when I first went in there. It was before computer consoles. It was all on the computer. It was before the game box and the Xbox and all that stuff. So that hadn't even come out yet. All right.
Okay.
So again, I'm aging myself. Okay. So it was all just the boxes. Like here's like red alert, right?
Whoa, that's
and, cool. Yep.
Did you ever play that, Sly?
Yeah, I did play that.
Yeah, I played that. I remember that box.
Wow.
And then here's Tiberian Sun.
Mm-hmm.
And so what was so
Played
fun
that one
about,
too.
yep, all the Command and Conquer. What was so fun about that and the little guys on the back, I had these made into little sculpture dudes, but this helmet on him, I got to actually make. So that was really pretty cool. Sorry, my ring light's kind of going crazy there. But I actually got to make the helmet, and then we did the photo shoot and all that stuff. But they're the ones who kind of gave me my big break, Prior to them, I was working in a sports betting company and doing their sports betting books, and it was really like, bleh. And they gave me a break, and then within a year, they asked me to start designing the boxes, and I was like, "What? Okay, I'm so excited!"
Wow.
And this was my most challenging. Learning Photoshop is not very easy, but this was a combination of CG that the guys would do, and then I had to Photoshop the monster into the real person face, right? And there's his crazy hand. And so, it was kind of, and the same with his fingers. I had to do his fingers into the monster hand. So that was really challenging that was probably early, 90s, I think. Yeah, somewhere around there.
So when you started it was Westwood Studios, right? You started as a graphic designer?
Yes. As a graphic designer,
much...
and then how much money I made back then?
Dude.
So it was really exciting because when I worked at the sports betting place, I think I was making like $25 a year. And then when I got the job at Westwood, they started paying me $65, and I was like, "What?
Ooh, that's quite the jump."
I'm like, "Really?" And so that was really exciting for back then. And then by the end, I got stock options, which were huge.
Oh, nice.
And this massive, they set me up on a 401k, which was huge. And so by the time I was done with them, I worked there for 7 years. I was at, I think, about 90 by the time I was done with them.
Nice.
Yes. And I got to the point where I was designing everything, the boxes, the CD, all the manuals that go inside the boxes. I was also designing all their booths for E3, which is the big, they spend $1 million on those booths, easily $1 million. So I was really helping with assisting in that as well, and all their like full page ads. And then anytime we did a Hummer giveaway where we actually gave away a Hummer, and I helped with that. And then any of the all the boxes go into Walmart was one of the biggest retailers, so we do these really big elaborate 3-dimensional displays and stuff.
Wow.
And that was really fun. It was so fun standing in the aisles at Walmart, looking at your rows and rows of boxes, because Command and Conquer was the biggest selling game of all time back then.
Yeah.
And looking at it and going, I did that, there'd be like these teenage boys going, oh my gosh, this box is so cool. And I'm like, I designed that. And they're like, what? So that was really
awesome.
Fun. Yeah.
So
how big was your? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Pete.
No, go ahead, son.
No, I think Pete had a question. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Pete.
Could you walk us through that creative process, designing that box back in that day? Because you say you built the helmet, and obviously it's a photo shoot, but then there's all the effects to it as well. So could you walk us how that project went?
So specifically with Command and Conquer, on that box, there was a previous version before this, and it was just a single guy's head. And we were like one of the first game companies to do that. And then the competition would all follow us. Like there was I can't remember the line of monster games that was really huge too.
Warcraft?
And
Warcraft.
World
yes,
of Warcraft.
Warcraft. And so they would all have just a single monster on the front. And I thought, they're copying us. But basically what would happen was the marketing director would come to me. Her name's Laura Miele, and she still works for Electronic Arts because Westwood Studios got bought out by EA. And she is still the director of EA after all these years. She's amazing. Very smart woman.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very, very smart. And so she would come to me and go, this is what the game's about. This is what they're doing. And this is the storyline behind it. And we need it to kind of feel like this. And so I would start concepting kind of on the computer and go, well, okay, I think it'd be really cool if he had this really techie helmet and then had some game action happening in his goggles that are holographic, so it feels really high tech. And they're like, yeah, we love that. And then they would just say, oh, tweak this or tweak that. And then that was it. They wanted this really kind of dark, spooky, sort of mystic background in the desert because it's all kind of a lot of desert scene that's happening in it. And then the other challenge was like creating the interesting way to do the frames around the artwork, right? So I'd always have to come up with something unique and interesting to make the artwork really look good. And so that was pretty much it. She would just give me the direction and I would just roll with it. I really depended and then you can open it up and it has all this amazing stuff. And I really depended a lot on the 3D artist as well, because 90% of this is their artwork. I'm doing very little, but just embellishing all the amazing stuff that they do.
Okay, that was going to be my next question, was like grabbing those elements, because obviously now you have stock Adobe stock and Envato and AI that could develop certain assets for you, and obviously you have those frames on there. You have like type. Where did you find like typefaces? And then obviously you already answered the element part, but where would you go for typography inspiration or to get it? Did you create that by hand?
No, back then there was still some type foundries. It wasn't that long ago. There was gosh, that's a good question. By this time we were on the computer.
Yeah.
So,
I figured that.
So I can't.
Do you remember what kind of computer?
It was a Mac. It was always a Mac, and it was always the best and always the biggest monitors. Westwood Studios would spoil me rotten. They gave me everything I wanted. So
nice.
They always sent me off to conferences all the time. I went to all the Adobe Max conferences and stuff. They were a really, really wonderful company to work for. Yeah.
How big was your team?
It was me.
Wow.
And there was another girl that was hired. She was hired before me. Her name's Panina Fingers. Panina moved to England, I believe, or is in Europe. I can't remember where she's at, but she was the other graphic designer on the team, and we worked together we kind of divvy up the manuals and things like that. But for the most part, it was kind of me doing the bulk of it. But then every now and then when multiple games were coming online at the same time, I would hire out. So you guys have had Dan McElhatton on your thing. Dan worked with me on Nox, which is this crazy cool villain lady. And I believe Dan designed the logo for that.
That looks like Dan's work.
Doesn't it?
It does look like his style,
Yes. And Gary, see that evil woman? Oh, she is so gorgeous and evil. That is done by Gary. I can't remember his last name right now. Good old Gary. He was the most amazing artist there too. We had some incredibly talented artists. It was pretty amazing. And that was all, Gary would do a lot of drawing by hand, but most of it's all computer generated. So it's like amazing back then what they were doing on the computer.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, fun stuff. Westwood was really a blast. I was very, very lucky to get in there. And that really just changed my whole career. I think I really like at that point, before that, I was kind of drinking and drugging and partying and living the Vegas
Living the
life.
life.
And yeah, and
Yes.
I was really not going anywhere. And I got that job at Westwood, and I just kind of said, you know what? And then I found God, and I thought I quit all the drugs and the drinking, and I've been so blessed, and so much goodness has come my way since then. So it was a really super good path for me because I had partied hard. Before that. It was like,
Vegas.
okay, yeah, yep, exactly.
So from there, you jumped over to CDI Studios, correct?
Yeah, after Westwood ended up selling to Electronic Arts, and Electronic Arts wanted me to go to California, and I've been in California. I didn't want to do California, so I quit there, and yeah, and I went to CDI Studios with Eddie Roberts. Eddie's a fabulous designer and videographer. He still has, but he primarily does all video work. Really, really great stuff. And I know he still does a lot of work for Sunburst Shutters. That was another one of our clients. We also did, and I started there as the creative director. And then there were 3 designers on staff, graphic designers. And we did stuff we did all the branding for 3 Square Food Bank, Sunburst Shutters. To think of some of the other cool clients. AFAN, can't remember all of them, but yeah, lots of great clients. And Brian Felgar worked there. We're still good friends. He went on to be the creative director for all of MGM. He's amazing illustrator, graphic designer, copywriter. Like he's the triple whammy. He's like what every creative director wants on their team, because he can just do it all. So talented. So yeah, CDI, I worked there for probably 7 years. And then I was like ready for a change. I've been doing graphic design for forever. And Brett from Westwood Studios came to me and said, "Hey, I'm opening an art gallery and I want you to run it." And I was like, "What?" And I thought, and it was like serendipitous because it was kind of like CDI was sort of going through a lot of changes and not really, it felt like Eddie wanted to do something different. And so it was like perfect timing. I told him, "Hey, I'm thinking of taking this." And he says, "Great, go for it." And so I took the job at it was called Brett Wesley Gallery, and is a fine art gallery. It was built, it's the first purpose-built art gallery in Las Vegas. We ran that for about 6 years. It's across the street from the Arts Factory, and now the attorneys Sam and Ash are in that building. And if you look at the building architecturally, Brett Sperry designed it, and it is stunning. It is the most beautiful building in the Arts District. So next time you guys are down there, you don't really notice it because it just blends right in, which is what a good building should do. But it kind of sits back a little bit. There's a little parking lot, but it's right on Charleston. Has this gorgeous porte-cochere in front of it. It's 2-story. And then on the very top is outdoor patio space. So we'd have parties out there. And we would have the best fine art openings in Las Vegas has ever seen to this day, I feel. So it was such a blast.
I had to pull
It
that.
actually sounds like a lot of fun. So now, like, I look at you now and I just noticed that you're very artsy and very into art. Were you like that back then, or is it something that this job got you into
art has been a part of my life since I was a kid. I used to draw and paint all the time, and then I just dabble in stained glass. I love working in acrylics. I love doing pottery. Like I love it all. I always never felt that I was good enough to be a fine artist. And like this painting behind me, that is one of my dear friends, Giovanni Morellis. and he was in our art gallery. I kind of discovered him down on Fremont Street, and he was doing these amazing paintings on cardboard. And I was like, what are you doing on cardboard? And so I gave him we got him started on canvas, and oh man, he has just took off. We would sell out of his paintings at every show we did. Amazing artist. I just adore him, and we're still really good friends. And there's so many local artists in Las Vegas. We would show Kevin Chupik. He was a teacher at the community college, and then he's moved to Texas and is doing wildly successful in Texas. All of his shows sell out. Dale Mathis is another local artist that we would show. Love his work. He designs these gorgeous tables that sell for $10,000-$15,000, and they're filled with cogs and wheels and it all turns, and it's just beautiful, beautiful stuff. So I had the really great pleasure of being able to really get to know the art world. I got to attend Art Basel numerous times, which is in Florida. It's one of the United States' largest art show that happens every year, and it is breathtakingly amazing. 5 days of nonstop art. You can't even, in 5 days, you can't see it all. That's how much stuff there is there. It's just so amazing. And this year I can't believe I missed it. I was so bummed. It happens in December, so it was just last year. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys have heard of Ez Devron. Ez Devron is who I wish I could be. So she is so amazing. So I first found Ez Devron when I was doing master classes. I don't know if you guys have ever taken those, but there's this thing on Netflix called Master Classes, and you can sign up, and it's all these classes by really amazing graphic design. The best graphic designer, David Carson's on there, right? And he's teaching a course on graphic design. And then the best photographers in the world, and the best cooks in the world, and the best horticulturists in the world. And so Ez designs environmental spaces, and some of the top concerts you've ever seen. She creates the staging for Beyonce and all the big, big stars. But she also does all these amazing things for like operas and stuff. Yes, like that.
This is her, right?
Yes.
This is cool,
and her stuff is
awesome.
Mind-blowingly cool. And she and it's so amazingly simple at the same time. She just does she is just her master class is incredible because she kind of walks you through exactly how she does everything, and I just love her. Kudos to Ez Devron. So she did a big art piece at Art Basel this last year, and it just looked incredible, and I was so bummed I missed it. It was like, wow, of all the years I didn't go. So, yeah, she's amazing.
While you were working
I went off on a tangent there, sorry.
No, it's great. While you were working at Brett Wesley Gallery, did you keep still doing your graphic design on the side, or you were just gallery all the time?
I did. I was doing a little bit here and there. Probably in the first couple of years I didn't, because it was so new to me and I really wanted to focus and immerse myself in the art. I've always wanted to be an artist, and I just never felt like I was really good enough or had something important enough to say. I feel like really great art should speak to you. And so I went into the art world that way, going, oh, I'll just learn more about it, and then I'll do it. And so I learned everything about it. It was really pretty amazing. The fine art world is like peeling an onion. There's more and more and more layers. There's so many layers. It's from the auction houses, and that level of art that sells for multiple millions of dollars to, street art, which really hit a big boom 10 years ago, and then to just your local artists who are trying to make their way through it. So many degrees of art. But what's really the most important about art is if you love it, you should just buy it. That's the problem with people, is they don't buy enough art. And we have so many local artists that need support. So buy more art.
That's awesome. I love that. If you love it,
I love that right
it.
there.
That's
yes.
great. I
Did you
couldn't
have
agree
something,
more.
No,
Unless
believe
it's out
Pete
of
was
my
about to
range,
ask a
then I'm not
question.
gonna buy it.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll tell you something about that. My very first piece of art was when I was in college and I had hardly any money. And I would go and look at this piece. It was a Salvador Dali seriograph. So it wasn't like original painting, but it was still $2,000. And in college, $2,000 might as well been, $1 million. So I would go in and look at that thing like probably once a week. And finally, the lady at the sales counter said, "Look, I know you love this and I want you to have it. So I'm going to set you up on a layaway plan. And can
Oh,
you
nice.
afford $50 a month?" And I was like, "Yes, I can afford that." And I was so excited. And I didn't even think, I didn't know what a layaway plan was, And so it was so awesome. So now it's still my most favorite painting, and it hangs in my bedroom. And yeah, so that's how you do it if you can't afford it.
True. No, very true.
Talk to the
That's
artist,
awesome.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
so
I
rad.
still love it. And that was, 40 years ago. Still love it.
Yeah, I like to buy like 11 by 17 or 22 by 28 single prints of just artists that I follow throughout the years, seeing their skill set
Yes.
grow. And especially if it's like on sale, I'm like, oh, I could snag 2 of these and frame them up. And
Yes.
yeah, they might not be
That's what I
original, but
used
it's
to do
supporting that
too.
artist,
Yes.
Mhm.
I used to go to a lot of art auctions too, like charity fundraisers that artists put pieces in, because a lot of times you can get them really affordable then.
Oh, I didn't know that. Huh.
So
Okay.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, all my posters back
Good
here,
advice.
they're all artists. They're all digital, but still artists. Like I try to support as much as I
Yeah.
can.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, what's one of the things that you love about the art world, and one of the things that you hate about the art world?
Okay.
There's gotta be something.
I love the vast amount of creativity. It is overwhelming and mind-blowing at how creative people are and how they think and what they come up with and how they got there. I absolutely love, like, Roy Lichtenstein on his website. You see his work. It's one of my favorite websites because it shows his work when he started in college all the way to, he blew up as one of the biggest artists in the world. And I love seeing the progression of an artist. That's so fun to me because you really can see, that's the thing. Like, most people think, oh, you just blew up and you were famous. No, he's been doing it for, 40 years before he blew up. And so I think a lot of people forget that. It takes time to really hone your craft and be really good at what you do. It takes time. It takes patience. So I love that. And the thing that I don't like about the art world is, and it's not as bad as it used to be, but the pretentiousness. I think, when you go into a gallery and they just give you that, that air of you can't afford anything in here, so I'm not talking to you. Like, I just don't like that mentality. I've never been like that. I get it. I know why they have to do it, but it's not as bad as it used to be. I was just in New York a couple years ago and went into some pretty big galleries, and they were actually really kind and friendly. So it was really good. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, any advice for any artist that's trying to get into that world and to make it into that world? What advice would you give them? How would they start? Where would they start?
As a fine artist, it's super important to just keep honing your skills. Just really keep doing something every single day. And then you just start talking to gallerists and you start looking and thinking outside the box. It's a different world now in the fine art world. You no longer have to go to a gallery to get representation. If you're creative, you can rent a U-Haul and park 5 of them along the street and do an art gallery out of the back of the U-Haul. I don't know if you guys saw that, but during Art Basel in New York, I think they did U-Haul gallery shows, and it made the paper. It was a huge thing, and artists just had paintings in the back of U-Hauls. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's so fun. I love that. So yeah, you just kind of have to think out of the box and do something different. And with social media and all of that entails, you just have to be creative and think of how you can kind of get your work out there. There's so many opportunities now for artists to just blow up even without having gallery representation.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, so kind of going off of that, you mentioned the other day when we were talking that you do something every day creative. What is that thing that you do every day to like stay creative? I think you were talking about doing I don't know. Maybe you remember what it was. Yeah, I'm trying to think what it's exactly called. I just had a brain fart. It's like you like not breaking plates, but you were talking about breaking plates, and it gives you that kind of thing.
Yes. I like to start my day with something creative that's not on the computer. And
Gotcha.
And I also start my day with meditation and prayer, which it really, I think, sets my mind in the right position to start the new day. You know what I mean? Because we're always so busy and there's so much going on and we're always so glued and connected to electronics. It's so important to get off of that. And so meditation does that for me. Prayer does that for me. And then I have an art studio in my house, and I have been working on a mosaic tile backsplash in my kitchen. Yeah, and it took me a whole year to do, but I finally have it to where all the tiles are up on the wall. Now I have to grout it. So I would go into my studio and break plates and break stuff, and that was a really great creative release. But yeah, that's kind of what I try and just go in there and do a little something, even if it's just for 20 minutes before I start the day, because I feel like doing something creative, doing something that you love, the first thing of the day sets the tone for the whole day. You know, it's like, okay, well, I got to do that, so I'm good.
Yeah, for me, it's working out. That's the first thing I do.
Yeah,
I work out, get a good pump on my body. Because I mean, we sit here as artists, or designers. We sit on a computer all day, and it's just kind of like, you have standing desks and everything. You don't really get to move your body. But once my body's awake, like, okay, good to go. I did something positive. I also pray too in the morning, and then get to it. So yeah, I definitely can relate on that.
What do you do, Sly, in the mornings? Or what's your?
He's like, I wake up.
I make coffee for me and my wife. That's something that
play with the babies.
To do.
Yeah,
play with the
quality
babies.
Time right there. That's filling up your heart. So I totally relate on that part too.
Make some espresso. So that's always been really fun for me. Is like I got my wife this espresso machine because she really wanted it, and then she's like, "Well, you have to learn how to make it for me." So now I learned all the ins and outs on like how to make espresso, and so that's something I like to do. In the morning. That's what starts for me.
Nice. Yeah, no, me is the gym too, and I gotta admit, Pete is a pretty fucking beast at the gym. Whenever he goes with me, he burns me out, and I'm sore for a day, which is great. But I've
basically
been
you don't work out until Pete does.
I've been trying to like meditate, and it's a little rough, but I'm trying to make it a habit. I think I'm gonna start
with 5 minutes. Just start with 5 minutes, and you'll find that you'll be able to bump that up to 10 minutes in no time. I don't do it for too much more than 10 minutes. I think 30 minutes is too, like, I just don't have that kind of time. Like, that's too long.
I think that what you said that's the thing you do right away when you wake up. I'm gonna try to do that because I get up, go to the gym, and I'm like, okay, I'll meditate later, and I never get to it. So I think that's a good plan to wake up, do it, and then get my day started.
Your ass is gonna fall asleep.
I do it before they go to bed because it is really like calming.
Well, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Drain all this stuff. Yeah.
I've seen you wake up, Martin. That's why I'm saying you're gonna wake up and close your eyes and go right back to sleep.
It's hard to wake up.
Yeah, that's my meditation in the morning. Good for 10 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna meditate.
Hit that snooze button.
So could you go a little bit more into the whole gallery world? Like how do artists like get their pieces there? What drew your attention when you were the consultant at Brett
So
Wesley.
when I was at Brett Wesley, the worst thing that an artist could do is on opening night, when you're trying to sell art, is an artist come in and want to talk to you about their portfolio. And that used to happen all the time. And I'm
Okay.
like, hey,
That makes sense.
this is so amateur of you. Do not talk to me about your work right now. I'm trying to sell art, not look at your portfolio.
Yeah.
So I'd usually get really mad at them, and then I tell them to come back later. Best thing to do is, and another thing that artists do not do is they don't look at the gallery and see if their work even fits in with that program. You know, every gallery that you go to has a distinct style of art that they carry. And if you're, you know, in tune with that, you can see it. To me, it's obvious. When I go to a gallery, this is the kind of work that they show. Okay, I get it. I do my research. I look at the other artists that they are carrying so that I know my work's going to fit in there. That is so important, because if I do pop art style and they already have 5 pop artists, they're not going to want another pop artist. They're going to need a little something different. You know what I mean? And so that's another really important thing. Check out the gallery before you go in there. Just don't go in just because it's a gallery. Oh, I can show my work here. And then make an appointment to show your work or submit your resume. A lot of times I would get so many applications and I would try and look through them, but if they didn't follow up, I wouldn't follow up. And so that's the same thing with a graphic artist. If you're submitting a resume and you're not calling back, you're not going to get an interview. You have to be persistent and call and call and call and be a pain in the ass, actually.
That's very true.
You'll get
100%
noticed.
true. Yeah.
And so it's the same thing for graphic designers. So that's kind of what we would look for. We'd go, okay, you know, you got a great book, and then we would bring them in and we'd see a few pieces. And then a lot of times if we like them, or if they weren't a good fit for our gallery, we knew lots of galleries. So that's another thing, you know, ask if they can recommend another gallery, because we were friends with galleries in New York. We were friends with galleries in Laguna Beach. You know, we knew a lot of gallery owners. And so that's a good way to do it. I also highly recommend that every single artist go to Art Basel. I just feel like, and then go with research in mind, not going just to go look at all the art, because all the art's amazing, but really study ahead of time, because you can get their catalog, you can go online, and then, you know, try and set up appointments, because a lot of times that's a big sell period as well. And sometimes they will talk to artists because they are looking for new artists. So, but you got to know where you fit in. If you are an artist that's never been in a gallery before, you're not going to go to these high-end New York galleries and expect to get in the door. It's just not going to happen. So you know, you got to take baby steps and work your way up, start with small gallery and so on. So, yeah.
And then the other question for that, or the follow-up for that, would be, how much does the artist have to pay to have their art featured there? And then how do you get the value of that art? Like, how does that conversation start?
So traditionally, galleries usually take a 50-50 split. So they don't actually, but some galleries rent walls. And so if you are renting a wall, you will pay for that space, and then a smaller commission still goes to the gallery as well. But it just depends. Every gallery is different on the wall renting thing. But most of your higher end galleries don't do that. It's usually just a 50-50 split with the artist. And then as far as pricing art, it's always been very difficult. You kind of have to look at the market, where you live, what market you're in. Like Las Vegas, for instance, is going to be less expensive than LA or New York, obviously. And then you kind of have to look at the caliber of the artist and how great their work is, and sort of base it off of that, you know, and put a value on it that you feel is worthy of the work. And then make sure, you know, the artist is happy with that value as well. And so that's how that works. And then, you know, as an artist, a good gallerist will really, really represent their artist and try and get them in galleries in New York and in California, so they have more representation.
Oh, wow.
it's super important that Las Vegas is not a big art city. It's just not. And thank goodness we're getting a museum. Like finally, I moved here in '94, and Seattle had just built their museum, and it was stunning. And I was like, oh, and I come to Vegas, and I felt like I went through, 10, just went through a time warp and stepped back in time 20 years. I couldn't believe that it took a lot to find the art scene here in Vegas, but there is one, and there's a lot of extremely talented artists here. But you got to search for it. You got to know where the great little spots are and stuff. But thank goodness we're getting a museum. I'm so excited for that. So I'm sorry, what was the question?
No, you answered it. You answered it. The renting the
Okay.
wall, and then how do you price, an artist's painting and stuff. So did you ever like push any artists out to New York or LA that you thought their art was that much valuable?
So Giovanni shows in the New York gallery, and he still has a few paintings there.
Oh, wow.
And then Kevin Chupik, Giovanni, and we used to represent Juan Muniz. I don't know if you know Juan. He's another really great artist. And we would just give them, hey, here's this gallery. And it wasn't our responsibility to get them in the gallery, but we would make the connections for them. And then it was their responsibility to make that happen. And so a lot of times just making the connection would make it happen. And so, yeah, we would always try for that because it just looks better on your artist resume.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, fun stuff. I had a great time
I was looking up some
working
of
at
those
Brett
ones, but
Wesley.
I couldn't find them.
Find it.
Yeah, I was trying to pull them up real quick, but I don't know if I typed the wrong name or something. So, getting back to some of your work history, so after Brett Wesley Gallery, you then went over to Boulevard's Las Vegas magazine?
No, I started my own firm, Pink Kitty Creative,
Oh, okay.
and I did Boulevard's magazine as part of my firm. So yeah,
okay.
So that was one
Sorry,
of my
I just saw it
clients.
right underneath.
Yeah.
That's why I
Yep,
thought it was
yep.
next, yeah.
Oh, so you were double dipping.
I was double dipping. Yeah. So
Hey, that's hey, if you can get away with it, I know some people who've done that. I know some people who like my agency just won this award for this company, and I'm like, isn't that your company and your company? Like, what? You recognizing yourself, like, giving yourself a gold star, but hey, make that money.
So Boulevards was so fun because I just designed the entire magazine for Jan. Jan Craddock ran that for many years. It was one of my favorite magazines in Las Vegas. It always had great stories, and it always I always learned new stuff about our valley. There were so many cool things in our valley that I did not know about, and she would always find those cool stories. So that was one of my favorites, and we were always kind of neck and neck with Desert Companion because they always had great stuff going on too. But it was so fun working for her. And so, so after I left Brett, the gallery, I started my firm, and I had clients from CDI Studio days who kept bugging me too to do some stuff. So I'd already finished my non-compete there. It had been 7 years since I worked at CDI. And so I took on AFAN and did all their black and white parties. And that was really fun. There's one, I think I still have one of those pieces up on my website somewhere. But it was so great because it was the first big thing, to be on the fashion show mall marquee. It was like that big video screen that they have going across the whole building. I was like, what? Look at that. That was really cool. And so I did a lot of work for them for many years, all the black and white parties. And then I picked up the Love Store.
Nice.
Yes, I love the Love Store. And I thought, all the stores like that in Seattle were always gross and seedy and kind of not very nice. But the Love Store is like Fredericks of Hollywood. It's very clean. It's super bright lights when you go in there. Everything is, and the girls all that work there. So I designed all that wallpaper and the murals that are outside and pretty much everything for all their stores. I do some sort of design. And that mural I worked on with the ISI group. I don't know if you guys know them, but
Cool.
they're big. Love those guys. They do a lot of murals throughout Las Vegas. And then I do the window displays for them, but we don't do a lot of craziness on those window displays. They just kind of keep it simple. And then that's my favorite. Do you see that? The back door.
Our rear
right
access
there.
is on. Yeah, that's
Exit
a good
only.
touch. A good touch.
That's hilarious.
That's
That's
very
awesome,
playful
dude.
and like on brand. It's great.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
was my idea.
It's so
Yeah,
cool
that's
that you
awesome.
not only design, what did you design the brand, and then you design everything else for them, right? Like the inside of the stores.
Well, I didn't actually design their logo. They had already had that. But on this particular
okay.
building downtown, I did that sign, the big giant sign that's on the front of their building right there. And then there's this really cute little arrow sign. And then there's another sign on the back of the building. And then I did the furry wall that's inside.
Oh, this
And
this
then
pink one.
there's that mural on that furry wall. And people come in and draw things in the fur. It's really cute. But on that mural, there it's called "Where's Dildo," and it's like this dildo that's shaped like Waldo, and it has little Waldo clothes on and a little hat, and you have to. There's like 12 of them in the mural, and you have to find him. Where's Waldo? Where's Dildo?
That's great.
Yeah,
That's
so that was
hilarious.
fun. And they're just a really fun client because he kind of gives me carte blanche. I did this fantastic design that I just absolutely love in their Oklahoma store. And I haven't even been so busy, I haven't even posted those pictures online yet. But they're really fun, the Oklahoma City store and the Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I went to Tulsa thinking, oh, this is going to be kind of, and I loved Tulsa. It was so hip and so cool.
Yeah.
And they had they had all these really great museums and great murals everywhere. And the Bob Dylan Museum was there. And yeah, it was just really Woody Guthrie. I don't know if you guys know Woody Guthrie, but he was like, okay, you got to look him up
Couldn't tell you.
because you're young kids and you need to know who Woody Guthrie is. Okay, I think he sang
I
the
know the
song.
name.
Yeah.
It sounds
I've
familiar.
heard the
like-
name. Yeah.
He's like all the he like started it, and then all the guitar players came in after him. But he was a singer, songwriter, and he was Bob Dylan was a good friend of his, and he was also wrote a lot of protest music. He was one of the first
Oh,
people
wow.
to ever have black people in his group, and then paid them the same amount that he made. That was unheard of back then.
Yeah.
So he was just a really cool guy. He did that song, "This land is our land. This land
Yeah, I
is
saw that
your
right now that-
land
yeah,
from
she pulled it up.
California." Yeah, that one.
That's
so, yeah.
awesome.
Good
And then on the
guy.
opposite side, I see the other song is "Tear the Fascist Down," just like you were saying.
Yes,
You know. Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
very politically driven. So that was fun. So Tulsa was really cool because I got to Route 66 runs through there. So what I did was I just drove all around and really tried to get the essence of the city. And then I infused that into the design. And the client just let me do whatever I wanted. And it was fabulous.
No,
So
that's awesome.
I think I probably have some on my Insta feed, but it's a ways back because I did that early last year. So I have to get my website updated. I just do not have time. I'm so
And we know a
behind on
guy
that
if you want to work with
stuff.
someone.
Yeah, okay. Good.
So with
Good.
this vast experience that you have, like what would you personally define as good design?
Oh, there's so much good design, you guys. I just love design that is timeless and
Okay.
communicates what it's supposed to say. What am I supposed to get out of that? Because design is usually trying to convey a message and a feeling, and if it does that effectively, then it's good design, you know? That's what I think. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be fancy or trendy or, it just really, I think if it really speaks to you and is done well, I think it's good design. I'm not an illustrator. So when I took on Craft House, the beer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like for instance, here's Sumo Stomp, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is, because I'm not an illustrator, this is a mashup of illustrations that I purchased and then just mashed it all up together, because this is a Japanese rice lager and it's called Sumo Stomp. And so I got all that stuff and just kind of put it together and made it look cool and did this fun color palette. Because I'm not an illustrator, I have to sort of try and work with what is available and within the client's budget. And a lot of times, you know, especially small craft breweries, they don't have a big budget to do their labels. And so I have to kind of work with what I got. Like this one, which I just love, this is all the guava. It starts off with this beautiful panther and these gorgeous flowers. So again, I found these flowers and I found the panther and I mashed it up. And I feel like I'm more of a mashup artist when it comes to this kind of stuff with illustrations, because I try not to just get something and stick it on there. I try and change it and make it my own somehow. You know what I mean? If I'm not an illustrator, and I'm not an illustrator. And like this with Hop Vegas, this background is actually a photograph of the Horseshoe Hotel that was photographed by my good friend Ginger Bruner, and it's supposed to go this way. See the H's for the horseshoe? But I just turned it around because I thought, oh, this will look cooler sideways. And they wanted, you know, kind of the Hop Vegas thing. They wanted to feel Vegas-y, so I did that. And so I just said, hey, Ginger, I know you've taken a million photos. Can I use one? And then I also did, and I don't think I have it here, but I used another local artist that you guys have had on your show that I absolutely love. Yes, Eric.
Vazala.
Gonzalez. I used Eric.
Vazala.
Yeah.
I used him for an illustration. I don't have his can here, but he did a can for me at one time too. So
yeah, he's such
I
a
try and
bad
reach
dude.
out. Yeah, he's really so talented. I love his style. He's got a unique style. See, that's something I don't think I have. I think my art is bold and colorful, but I don't feel like I have a unique style. I do have to show off my t-shirt. This is Town Portal. It's an arcade bar in Bremerton. And I designed that logo for my brother's son, who opened his own bar. He's like this, 40-year-old that wants to play video games and have a bar.
And drink. Hey, man, that sounds like
that's
right?
Martin. You're speaking Martin right now.
Yeah.
Right?
And Sly.
All you guys.
And Sly.
And me.
Yeah.
And me.
Yeah.
So it's Bremerton is over up in Washington State. And so it's a really cool little bar. Yep.
Since we're talking about beer, you guys ready for your second?
Boom! Second beer goes.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh.
No, before we started the podcast, everyone listening or watching, creative director Pete over here is going to be 41 years old this year and can't handle his liquor anymore. So my stomach is still.
Sorry, it took me a second.
My stomach is still very
sensitive.
sour and sensitive.
Oh, his tummy
so
hurts.
hell yeah, my tummy hurts. So I'm sticking to light beer tonight. Nothing fancy. Just 805 cerveza. I love their beer. Just nice and light. They have this one's with lime. Again, I'm a big fan of like garage beer as well, but this one is just a great beer all around, no matter what time you have it. So I'm sticking to my light beers today. Next episode, I'll be good to go though.
I'm gonna back up Pete on that one, and I didn't know what to expect from that other beer. I was trying to get all drunk since it was a seltzer, so I'm just going, Estrella Jalisco.
That's a good beer
light
too,
beer.
though.
Yeah, super nice.
That's a good kick.
I really enjoy
beer.
Yep. So let me.
Sly, what do you have?
Okay. I am actually keeping it pretty chill this time as well. My first one was 5.2. This one's 5.4. So, this episode's pretty chill. This one is called Cuckoo by Craft House. So,
Oh,
yeah, look at that one.
Nice.
Nice. That's
That's
pretty
dope.
Very cool little.
That was
little
another
can.
one that we hired an
I'm sorry. It's like
illustrator
really
for.
zoomed in. There we go.
I love the colors.
Nice.
Nice.
The gold
Yeah, it's
on
very-
that blue.
Yeah.
The camera's really trying to catch my face, so it's like trying to dodge around the cam.
Oh.
Yeah. So is this better? My hand in front of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's
Cool.
just
Cool
like-
can.
Yeah. I'll pop it right now.
Pop it.
So
and
you
tell
did
us
this
what you
can
think.
too, Victoria?
We hired the illustrator and then I did all the type.
Nice.
Cheers.
Cheers. So Victoria,
nice light.
you've oh yeah, sorry.
It's really good. It's really, really good. It's dark. It's a dark lager, so it
Yep.
tastes dark, but
Has
it's not.
big, thick.
It is thick, but it's not super heavy like an IPA. Where like the IPA you get the strong taste on the end. It's more of a
Yeah.
bold taste in the front and then smooth on the way down.
Nice.
I'm
What
so
you
glad
got,
you had a
Victoria?
craft house. I have.
I honestly didn't know you designed for Craft House. I just grabbed it because I thought the can was
Oh,
really cool.
perfect.
Yeah.
I have sticky yum yum.
That's cute.
And this is a imperial mango rice ale.
Oh my god, I want
And-
to try that.
Yes. And what I loved about this was I actually did, draw a lot of these background elements. So I didn't draw the kitty on there, but I did all the background stuff. So that was really fun. I took some time and said, hey, I'm going to have fun with this one. And so there's these little quirky, weird guys in there and this little elephant, lots of fun patterns going on and florals. And the kitty was the only stock art. So that was more fun. I spent some time on it. And the type in the circle is kind of like, as you can see, it's sort of a brand element.
Mhm.
We use the same font. There's circles on all of them. And that's kind of the brand look for that year. And then on the next year, we'll change that up. We
That's
just
awesome.
started with this. This whole line is their main line. And it has the brand bar across the
Yeah.
bottom, which is a whole new thing for them, which we just started. So these are year-round beers. They always have them. And so this was really fun because it has these really great foil happening in there, but lots of little fun little small details. And then there's all four of them, and each one is sort of a different color for the different
Oh, cool.
flavor of the beer.
That's pretty awesome.
Nice.
Is it
That's really
So-
is
cool.
it like a taster set?
Yes. So
Okay.
like this is a Ches. This is a coffee stout. The purple one is.
Ooh.
This is an Indian pale ale, the green one.
So like their
and then-
flagship series.
Yes, and they're year round, and they're in like all the grocery stores
Mhm.
and Lee's Liquor and stuff like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Craft House.
Victoria just
They want to
just
sponsor this episode.
I'm gonna put Pete out there. Pete has been wishing and wanting to design a beer label. Yeah.
Oh no, I've done beer labels.
You've done a
It's
beer
just
already?
I'm doing other stuff with beer. So,
Oh, okay.
but that's an NDA there, Martin. So we won't talk about that right now.
No, I'm just saying.
And cut.
I would love to
And
design a
cut.
beer label, Victoria.
Okay. Yeah, we'll work on that for sure. I also get to do the Great Vegas Beer Festival. I do all of their work. And
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Motley Brews. I do all of their
Yeah.
all their beer festivals, the Downtown Beer Fest.
Mm-hmm. They moved this year, right? Because something happened with the venue, so they had to go somewhere else. Or has to go somewhere
So
else.
this year, the Great Vegas Fest is going to be down off of 6th Street in Fremont.
Yeah, that's where it is.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be
I
fun.
don't-
That's a party over there.
yeah, no, for sure.
Do you know when that is?
March
Yes,
16,
March
right?
16 or 28. I think it's 28.
Something like that. Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
Maybe we might
designed
do a
up
little
the
trip.
I just designed up the key art for it. So we just do like with them, he just goes, oh, I'd like something like this, and they do it up and send it to him. So this one was very interesting because I used AI. It was my first project using AI. And I was like, oh, how's this going to go? It was miserable. I was like, it never does what you want it to do. So I would have to prompt it to do one piece at a time. And then I'd Photoshop it all together to create something amazing. And that's how my first experience with AI was. But I do really love using it for concepting. I think it's been, oh my gosh, amazing for concepting.
100%.
I am currently designing cocktail lounges now. So it's kind of weird. I haven't done a lot of graphic design for the all of last year. I designed restaurants and cocktail bars, and I did this huge sculpture for the Renaissance Marriott Hotel and their reception desk, like behind their reception desk. So fun. Still haven't posted on my website.
I was looking for it.
I haven't even posted on social media because I really want professional photos taken of it. It's so beautiful because I've never done anything like that. But I just got really super lucky. Have you guys been to Sparrow and Wolf, the restaurant on Spring Mountain? My favorite. Well, I got the opportunity. A friend of mine introduced me to Chef Brian, who runs Sparrow and Wolf. And I did the mural on the front of his building. I designed that for him, and he loved it. And then I did the window vinyl for him, and he loved that. And then he said, "Hey, I'm gonna start this new restaurant. Will you design the logo?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so I got to design his restaurant logo. And then he said, "Well, I actually want you to meet my architect," which was Bunnyfish. They are an amazing local architect firm. And they asked me to do help with the signage and help with the murals inside the restaurant and anything I wanted to work on inside. So we worked on designing lighting together, and I got to do the murals. And then I said, "Hey, let's do some rubber." It was called Half Bird Chicken and Beer. Right. So which is such a fun name, which resulted in a super fun logo. And I actually had my daughter, who is a really amazing artist. She did the illustration of the chicken in the logo. So if you find that on my website somewhere,
I got it.
Yay. And so she designed the little chicken, and I did the type. And then I said, "Hey, what about rubber chicken chandeliers?" And they're like, "Oh my gosh, we love that idea." So I figured out how to build and make a rubber chicken chandelier. And it was so much fun. And my buddy Russo helped me make those. He's an amazing, talented artist here in Las Vegas as well. So then I got to do the boxes and the stickers and the labels and the wallpaper and the cups and just every single piece of that restaurant I got to design. And it was so fun.
I love this funky.
Wow,
this is pretty cool.
Let me ask you something. For a project of this caliber, what's the price tag for something like this? Yeah, that's what we're about here.
So cute.
Can I get a range?
A range, yeah. It was like kind of one project after another. So, I love that T-shirt too. I got to design the T-shirts. So it's hard to say. I think if I put it all together, I would say upwards of $40,000 to $50,000.
Okay. Oh, that's amazing. That's great.
Range.
Yeah.
And how long did that take you from when you first started having the first concepts to it rolling out and everything's out? Like, what was that time frame?
Easily over 6 months.
Wow. Okay. Still, that's
Wow.
incredible though.
Yeah.
I think that
From concept to finish.
Yeah. Concept to finish, and then the price tag on there, like that's my hat off to you. Like that's a
Yeah.
badass. That's a badass designer right there. That's super awesome.
It's a lot. There's a lot of work
Oh,
in there,
100%.
guys.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
there's a lot. If you look at that,
I
there's
see all these.
signage.
Mm-hmm.
There's signage. There's there's murals. There's neon signs.
The
there's
restaurant, you set the
packaging.
lighting
Yeah.
and stuff like
But
that's cool. Super super
in
cool.
addition to the rubber chicken chandeliers, there were also chicken feet that were up on the ceiling. I don't know if there's a good shot of those. So
Yeah,
that
I
was
was
the
looking.
bathroom. And
Oh, right
yeah,
here?
there they are, right there. Yeah, so
Oh,
those
that's dope.
chicken feet, they're shaped like chicken feet, and they would
Oh,
go
those are really
That's
cool.
hilarious.
yeah, and they have a timer that would go on like that. They would blink on and off like it was walking across the room, which is super fun. Yeah, so really fun. And it was
That's
just
awesome.
I was just so excited to have my daughter do all those little chicken illustrations. She did all those little drawings
these
of
little
them on the
ones?
skateboard. Yeah. So we came
That's
out with a
cool.
whole line, and that black and white photo, that was the influence for the whole idea. I found that online, and this was some guy in a costume from the 1930s, and I thought that is hysterical. And it's a half bird, half man.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, what is a half bird? Really?
Birdman.
Maybe half man. I
Well,
don't know.
A half bird's half of a bird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
half of a bird, but what's the other half?
Half man.
That's
So there you go.
That is awesome. No, I
Like,
mean
even
this is
just
such
doing
the first time I saw this when we
apparel,
did a
too.
story on Halfbird when I was with Vegas Prime.
Oh yeah.
I just thought it was great. I love the concept and everything, and then now knowing how much you executed, like that's incredible
Mhm.
work. That is awesome. Just shows the
Thank you.
caliber and talent that you have, Victoria. So kudos for
It
sure.
was just a
Yeah,
lot
this
of
is
fun.
And I love that
a
you
lot
have
of
your
fun to
daughter
do.
involved in it as well.
I
Like for
know
her to do that,
that
like
was
that,
my
that's
best. That was like the
that's
best
badass.
part.
Yeah.
Just love that.
Yeah, incorporating all these into everything is awesome too. Just like the little tiny icons and everything. Just looking through it, it's so unique and
Yeah, it's
so
a very fun brand. So
yeah.
after that, he opened another store in Green Valley. I got to do that one too. And then Bunny Fish was really, really impressed with my work. And then they gave me the Renaissance Hotel. So they asked me to present concepts for the behind the reception desk. I'll have to show you guys that. It'll be up on my Instagram. I have a photographer coming out to shoot it next week, so I'm really excited. And then they also gave me Prowl Cocktail Bar, which is on Commerce Street.
Mhm.
And Prowl is another one that took probably 6 months or so from start to finish, maybe a little longer. But they had already worked with an artist on their logo, so I didn't do that. But I got to do all of the concepts for the interior, everything except the wallpaper and the lighting and the tables and chairs. All that was done by the architect, by Bunny Fish. But the client wanted, some more experience elements. So we designed a lava rock wall. I knew they wanted to work with lava rock, so I incorporated this giant face, and I wanted the face to feel sort of not feminine or not masculine, but you can see the face in the wall there. I
That's
wanted to
really
just
cool.
feel like it was something you stumbled on while you were in the jungle. And then these chandelier, that crystal chandelier that you just saw, that was
Mhm.
I worked with Joel Spencer, who's an amazing production artist. He's just an amazing artist. He's not a production artist. He creates anything. He can make anything. He's really incredible. He's a prop designer and stuff like that. And he's also works on movies. He's just multi-talented. And so I worked with him because I've known him for years. And he got the 3D printers, and we 3D printed that crystal to look like a crystal cave. And so we made that. That was really
That's
super
really
fun.
cool, yeah.
Yeah, and it goes all the way down the hallway through the bathrooms. And then in the bathrooms, there's one bathroom is a butterfly bathroom, and the other one's a firefly bathroom. And those were really hard to shoot. So I don't know if there's any photos
Yeah,
in there
I
of
didn't
them.
see any photos in here of
Yeah, they're really, really difficult because they're so tiny, but you got to go in and
them.
experience both bathrooms.
Yeah.
But I also designed that door. Oh, that's the firefly bathroom.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so I did the wallpaper and it looks like a forest with fireflies all through it. And then the ceiling is all fiber optics to kind of, and then when you go in there, it's got all the cricket sounds and stuff like that. And there's a lot of Easter eggs in that wallpaper. So you got to go in there and find them. It's really super cool. I always try and do that with all of my art. Anytime I get the opportunity to do something, I plant an Easter egg somewhere. So that
Okay,
was the
that's awesome.
firefly.
That's super awesome.
And then
That's
my
cool.
friend Russo did that door for me. I wanted a bamboo door and I wanted it to look really cool and interesting. And so he made that for me. And their cocktails are amazing. So you guys got to go in and try their
Yeah,
cocktails.
for sure.
They are so delicious. They're
Where's
just
the place
tasty.
located at?
It's right on Commerce Street. It's next to Stray Pirates.
Oh, perfect.
Have you been
Okay, I
in
know where that
Stray
is. Yeah.
Pirates? Stray Pirates is
Oh,
the
yeah.
best tiki bar in Las Vegas. It's so cool. So yeah, so I got to work on that, and now I'm working with them on another project that I can't talk about yet. So, but it's gonna be
Little
really, really
NDA.
cool too. Really,
Yeah.
really cool. Yeah, so that was super fun. And then I also do a bunch of work for the library. And
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you heard the West Las Vegas Library just opened up.
I went to
I
go
have
Oh, yeah,
visit
I go
it,
there.
like,
I have to
yeah.
shout out to the library because they are a wonderful client. They're just so great to work with. And so I worked with Betsy Ward over there, and John Vino was the director of the project. But the West Las Vegas Library was just finished being built from the ground up, and I got to do this history timeline of the West Las Vegas that goes all the way up the stairs. It's like 35 feet
Oh, I saw that.
long.
That's dope.
Yeah, and there's an
Yeah.
Easter egg in there too, so you got to go back
I'm about to
and
go
try
back
and
and
find
look at
it.
I'll be back soon. My kids love going there.
As soon as you see it, you'll go, ah, there it is. So that was really fun. But what was so great about that project was they came to me and said, hey, we want to do a, history timeline mural on this wallpaper. And I said, oh, no, we can't just do wallpaper. This is the library. You got to do something grand. This is a $40 million building. So I talked him into doing the wallpaper on the background because it's like another 40 feet tall, 40 feet wide. And we did this great sort of history wallpaper in the background, but then in the front, we made the timeline sort of three-dimensional and backlit, and then all the images are three-dimensional and pop off and stuff. So it's really pretty. It's not on my website, I don't think yet either,
Yeah,
but
I'm
it's on my
looking for it.
social. It's definitely
Okay,
on my
I'll see if I can
social,
find it.
on my Insta. So yeah, that's another one I haven't had a chance. Everything from last year, I just have not had a chance to get up. But because it was such a busy year, I was very blessed last year, very, very blessed. Yeah, so there it is. So
Yeah,
it was
this is
super
a
fun.
big
So
piece
it's
too.
all backlit, and then all the fun things are happening on top of it. And that guy that's in the photo with me, that is Tyler Perry. Tyler was a lifesaver because when they said, hey, do this history wall for me, I knew nothing about the history of West Las Vegas. And I needed somebody that really knew what they were talking about so my design could, really shine. And I wanted everybody in that community to be very proud of it and love what was accomplished there. And so Tyler is a professor at UNLV, and he is specializes in African studies. And so he already knew a lot about the history of West Las Vegas. And so I worked with him on getting the timeline content together, and he was really instrumental in that. So I went around, there's a lot of timelines out there in West Las Vegas. And so I went around and gathered them all up, and then I put all all the information that I found and I gave it to him. And I said, what am I missing? I know there's more, there's
Oh,
deeper
wow.
things. And so he added to it. And we have over 40, I think over 40 entries on there, just on the west side. But then I said, hey, what about just matching up the West Las Vegas timeline with a global timeline of what's really been happening around the world? Because it's interesting for me to go, oh, this was happening here in West Las Vegas at the same time that was happening in Germany. Wow, that's incredible. So I really like that dynamic of it. So I was able to talk them into going, yeah, we like that idea too. They thought it was cool. And so that's my cat, Sugarby. And so we got to do the both timelines, which was really amazing. And so I pulled all the content for the global timeline from AI. I talked to chat and I said, give me the best things that happened from this time period to this time period in the arts, in literature, in music, in pop culture, and politics. And so I gave it all these subjects and it gave me a ton of stuff. And then I weeded through that and I said, narrow it down to really the best. And so went through that iteration after iteration and finally came down to what actually made it on the timeline. And there's a lot of really fun stuff in there. So it's you can spend all day on the stairs in the library.
So I have a question for you. What was the timeline on this project?
Oh, good question. I feel like it was, boy, if I looked on my calendar, I'd be able to tell you. I feel like we started it it took us probably, I want to say that was another 6-month project from start to finish. Yeah, easily. Wow. And it might have been a little bit longer than that. So after we had got the content together, we had to go through revision after revision after revision because we're talking about the library. And so they
Can't
were
have
really
any
good.
Wrong spelled words.
Right? They were really, really good at proofing it 100 times. And that all came down to the wire too. Proofing that thing. Me and my girlfriend were here, long hours working on that. And then sending all the files. So Color Reflections, I don't know if you guys are familiar with them. Mm-hmm. They are now called Fusion Imaging. I've known Color Reflections since I moved here. I've used them for so many projects, and they are the ones who printed everything. So they, I went to them and said, I really want to do this, and how can I make the substrates different so it feels has more depth and texture? And so there's Googie stars on there. You guys are familiar with the Googie star, right? So in my City of Las Vegas logo, those little stars, those stars are after Googie architecture, which happened in the 60s. And it was an architectural movement. And they used them a lot. And it was kind of sci-fi. And so they're seen a lot in Vegas. That was when I moved here. I noticed, wow, those stars are everywhere. They're really cool. And I also noticed breeze blocks. I was like, wow, they have breeze blocks. I've never seen one before in Seattle. And so I went around and photographed all of them. Now I have a whole bunch in my carport that I'm going to put in my yard soon. But there's all these different styles, and I love those. But we incorporated the stars as kind of like space fillers, and the photos were like on a matte satin finish, and then the stars are glossy acrylics. So it has this fun, like matte gloss thing happening throughout it, and just lots of texture and depth, and that's really what I wanted to try and create. So it was really fun.
That's awesome.
And we had an ongoing bet with the library that the Googie stars would be the first thing that the teenagers try and pick off. We're hoping they'll stay on there, but who knows, Yeah. So that was a really, really fun project too. and I can't tell you the budget.
Again,
Sorry.
You can go in. Yeah, I was about to say, if you can
Pete's
go
like, "Damn
into
it."
it, can you go into the
Sorry.
budget? But yeah.
It's like, no. So you got the chance to design the Las Vegas logo. Can you talk about that? How that went? How you got that job?
I did get that. So the city of Las Vegas came to me. This is my kitty. Say hi, Sugar Bee. City approached me and said, "Hey, we would like you to be one of the people that design the logo." And they reached out to quite a few different firms, and I was just happened to be one of them. I knew one of the people that worked for the city through all of my work with Three Square, and Julie Murray, who runs the Moonridge Group. Julie Murray has been a wonderful client since I moved here. I first met her through CDI Studios when we did the Three Square logo. She came to my office with Eric Hilton from the Hilton family, and Eric sat there and told us his story about how we cannot have food insecure poverty in Las Vegas, and we need to do something about it. Our food bank was really terrible back then. And so I was very blessed to work with Julie on that project. She referred me to this PR firm that I did a lot of work with. She's referred me to Thrive Cannabis Marketplace. Like, she just has been a huge advocate of my graphic design career. So I adore Julie Murray. And so she ended up, I met the city person, Aaron Sibelius, through that PR firm. And Aaron reached out to me and said, "We'd like you to be a part of this project." And so I was competing against all these other agencies. I thought, oh, yeah, good luck, Vic. So I went above and beyond on that presentation. I just designed I put everything I had into it. And then I focus tested with all my graphic design friends. And then I refined and focus tested with all my graphic design friends. Cause it's just me working in a silo. So a lot of times on bigger projects, I'll send my designs out for other designers to look at them, because you just don't know, like what's good sometimes and what's bad. And so that logo that they ended up choosing, yep, that's the one. I was actually not going to use that logo because the creative brief said progressive and modern with a nod to our past. And to me, that's like saying we want something that looks new and something that looks old. When you really narrow it down. And it's like, oh, it was mind-blowingly difficult to try and make that happen. And so a lot of my designs were a lot more modern than this one. And so I wasn't going to include this, but everybody I talked to said, this one was by far my favorite. And everybody I talked to said, yes, you have to include that one. I was like, okay.
Do you remember how many iterations, like ballpark, how many you possibly came up with?
As far as different designs, I came up with 6 different designs. Okay. Usually I never present more than 4. And so I just felt like, and I tried to narrow it down to 4, but a lot of my other designer friends were like, no, these are all pretty good for different reasons. And when I pitch a logo, they all kind of look they all look different, but they still hit the creative brief. And so my clients love that about me. Pretty much every time I present a logo, they're like, we like all of them. That always happens. I'm like, well, you have to pick one. So, so when they came back to me saying that I had one, I was like, what? I can't believe it. So I was so excited. And then that's the one that they chose. And then they, about a year later, they said, hey, we're going to make this really great sign on the strip. And so that's when they put up this sign with the showgirls, right?
This one?
And I was like, I was so mad, you guys. I'm like, you cut off the G. Like, how could
Yeah.
you do that? How could you do that? And it's like, why didn't you just put the sign up higher? I mean, really, come on.
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, they have the
yeah,
space.
yeah, they had the space, and so I was a little, and then they put all these fluorescent. They have when it's this photo is really a nice photo, but most of the time they have every single letter a different color, and I was like, oh, whoa. So that bugged the heck out of me too. And
They're like, we already paid you, so we're gonna do what we want.
We could do what we want.
yes,
You know,
Typical
like
client.
that's the part that
Yes.
sucks afterwards when once everything's
Yes.
paid and you're like, okay, it's on, hands off, and then they do that,
but
and
you
you're
know
like,
what the worst part was?
come on.
You know what the worst part was after they chose the logo, they didn't let me make any revisions. Zero. I said,
Oh,
no way. So I now have written into my contracts that I get to make revisions until I know the logo is finished. That's first round creative, you guys. Like, come on. Is your first round
Oh,
creative
wow,
ever
yeah.
perfect? No,
No.
it's
It
not.
depends. It depends.
I mean, yeah, there's little things I would have done. There's things I
Yeah.
would have done.
Wait.
And
Okay,
so
so
but
this was
they
just one
focus
round,
tested.
and then
Yeah,
that was it.
first round. That was it. They said, no,
Wow.
we have focus test this logo and everybody loves it just the way it is. And I was like, okay. All
Did
right.
you know
If
they
you
were going to
love
put it
it,
on
I
this,
love it.
this arch? Did you know they were going to put it
No,
on this
so
arch?
that happened. Yeah, they came to me and they said, okay, now we're doing the real sign. I was like, oh, yay. And so they worked with Sibley Pete Design to create the arches, and then they chose to bookmark the strip with the background of Betty Willis's sign, which is the famous Las Vegas sign on the other end of the strip with her background shape. And I thought that was such a great nod to Betty Willis.
Yeah.
She's an amazing artist. And I never even thought of it that way, but one of my friends is like, it's so cool to have two female graphic designers bookmarking our Las Vegas strip. And I was like, oh, I love that. I didn't even think of that. But yeah, so it was really cool. So that they were the designers behind the arch, and I did the logo.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they have done a lot of amazing work too, by the way. If you look them up, they're pretty incredible. So
Can you say
fun
that again?
stuff. Sibley Pete Design. I think, let's see. Should I get the spelling for you? Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I don't have it here. But you know what? If you search Las Vegas logo, their name always comes up, not mine. If you search the Las Vegas sign, yeah, their name's always first, not me.
That's funny. So obviously you've had a lot of success and a lot of great stories and blessings across your design career.
Yes, blessings.
Has there ever been a failure or a setback in that time frame?
Oh, goodness. Failures.
Did you ever hit a wall that you were like,
She's like, nope, success.
Nope.
Nope.
All I do
Success
is
all the
win.
way.
I'm trying to think
She's
of
like,
something
sucks to suck.
No, I've been so blessed with so many amazing clients. Most of my clients I have had, like Julie, I've had since I started, and the library and Craft House I've been with for 7 years, and Motley Brews I've been with since 2016. So I've been really blessed to have a lot of really, really great clients. Now there are a lot of small clients that kind of happen in between all the big clients. And, some of those are great and some of them aren't so great. You know what I mean? Like there's every designer has something they're not going to put on their portfolio, right?
Yeah.
And so I have a ton of work that I've done that's not up on my website or on my social, just because it just, either I didn't love it or they didn't have the budget to do it properly, or, it's not usually a budget thing because I put all my all into like everything I do, but some designs I do I don't really like. And I can't tell you which ones those are because they're not on my website. And I probably forgot about them. So yeah, it's not everything's, great. Like I'm not that great.
All right.
They're very
slide.
humble.
I was telling, it's like I look at designers like you guys do, and you go, I don't know about you guys, but I like look at as Devron and some of the top, David Carson, all that, and I'm like, no, it's just little old me, not even close to being that amazing.
So I have a question,
for
you before
you.
Sly. Hold on, Sly.
Okay.
Yeah, what.
If a fictional character would represent you as a designer, what character would that be? Any fictional character that you love. That you're like, that's me right there.
It would probably be the lady from the Magic School Bus.
Ah!
Okay, Miss Frizzle. Or Miss Frazzle, Miss Frizzle.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
super dope.
She was cool.
That's great.
She was really cool.
I love it.
That's
I
awesome.
love Miss Frizzle. Yeah.
Okay, so
I get mistaken for her all the time.
I could see it. I could see it.
that.
The bubbly personality along with your hair, I mean, they go hand
Yeah.
in hand with Miss Frizzle. And her creativity. I mean, every class that she
Yeah.
teaches, she's like, oh, we're going to do this thing. And then she turns it around and is like, oh, this is how we're going to learn this.
Yeah.
The only reason I've recently gotten back into it is because of my kids. I'm like, we gotta learn something while being entertained. But we like to do this segment now where we pull a question from our previous guest. And I'll play you the video right now.
If you had to design one type of thing only, and you had to just stop everything else, you don't have a choice. Like it sucks, like I like to make logos, I like to make badges, I like to make word marks, I like to draw. Like it would be hard to get rid of and just do one thing, monograms, whatever. Like what's the thing that you could do all day, every day, and you would be okay with sticking with that?
Ooh, that's a good question. I love branding, but lately, because I've been doing these restaurants and bars and I feel like I'm moving into this whole new world of experiential design, I guess you would call it. It's really trying to create an emotional experience in a space. And that has been so much fun. I really feel like I'm going to keep trying to push that boulder as far as I can push it and see what happens. And the timeline, like I really like doing this whole sculptural elements to my graphic design. So I'm hoping to do a lot more of that.
That's the only thing you can do for the rest of your design career.
Well, what I love about that is it's like every project is so different. So
okay.
like the bar is completely different from the timeline, which is completely different from the sculpture. Like when you see the Renaissance Hotel, these are like their creative brief for me was, we love Seven Magic Mountains. Do you guys know what Seven Magic Mountains are? Those giant rocks that are very colorful. And I said, yeah, well, I'm not doing that. That's already been done. So they said, okay, well, it needs to be organic and nice like that. So I went out to the Valley of Fire and I looked around, and I love the striations on the rocks out there, right? And so that was my background mural. And then I used to always stack rocks when I'd go down to the ocean, do the rock stacking thing with like river rocks and stuff like that. And so I thought, well, what if I stacked rocks vertically that actually would never stack that way because they'd fall over? And so I tried doing that. And I played around with it and like with foam and made these little foam sculptures, and I really loved it, and it felt really cool. And so they have 6 pillars, totems, you would call them, and they're rocks that would never stack on top of each other like that, and they're white, kind of creamy white, in front of this gorgeous red rock kind of a painting. So that was so fun, and it was so different, and I could totally see myself doing that all day long for the rest of my life, because every project is so unique, and it actually is starting to verge into the fine art world a little bit, which I really, really love. So I could do that all day long.
So what would you call that? Is that like environmental?
I would say environmental design. Yeah, environmental. Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
And
like
everybody wants a selfie moment, so it's really kind of a big thing right now, because everybody needs, I need to take my picture here and there, and so
it's environmental and immersive design. That's the new trendy word now, is immersive. Everything's about immersive.
Yes.
But yes, the selfie wall too, as long as because that gains traction on social media. And it's all about social media, likes, views, visits, all that crap. So
absolutely.
Yeah. A cool
but it's
neon,
done
a cool pattern.
Way.
Yeah, no, for sure. And obviously Victoria's showing that way, with Half Bird.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, half of that stuff in there is just cool. Now I want to go see the chicken feet. Like that's pretty badass, So that's super rad. So now this part of the podcast is where you get to ask our next guest a question.
Okay. Let's see. How about, what do you pull from the world that influences your design?
Great.
Awesome.
Okay.
Great question.
Yeah. Great question.
And I just want to say, I didn't say it before, and that's my apologies. That question was from Dristy Design. He was our previous previous guest. Yeah, and he's illustrator out of Idaho, USA.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
So I just wanted to
super rad guy. He used to work with Lincoln Design. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them.
Oh, you love Lincoln Design.
Yeah. So
again, I am not worthy.
You're so humble. You are.
I love those guys. Those are fabulous guys. You know who you guys should look up is Blaze Brooks. Okay. I've been trying to get Blaze to do an AIGA event for quite a while now, and he's an amazing illustrator here in Las Vegas. He was born here, moved to New York for a while, came back, and is doing some really great stuff here in Las Vegas. Really cool. Yeah, there he is. So shout out to Blaze, and
shout out to Blaze.
Do an AIGA event for us and talk to our young designers and be a little mentor. But really nice guy.
Awesome.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, we forgot to talk about your AIGA experience.
Oh
yeah. Well, you were one of the founders, weren't you?
Yes, I was. Many moons ago with Dan McCotton and all the kids. Been doing AIGA. I think it's absolutely crucial. That's back when I was at Westwood Studios. And at the time, again, back then, nobody knew what a graphic designer was. So having an organization that is as big as AIGA was super important to set the standards of why it's important to have a graphic designer work on your stuff. And I feel like now more than ever, as we start entering the AI age of design, that it's still really super important to know the difference. I think we're going to be inundated with AI designs all over the place. And to me, it's so obvious that a hand did not touch that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. When you see a logo that was AI generated, or you see an illustration that was all AI, it just feels very AI. I'm sure there's going to come a point where it gets better and better and better, but it's still not there. It's still lacking that human emotion and that essence of what a human brings to design. So So we'll see what the future holds there. It's a great tool. I feel like it's, but like all tools, you need to know how to use it, you know. So, but AIGA has been fabulous, and I feel like I've been on the board for about 4 or 5 years now, and I got it back on the board because one of these young designers said, I gave a talk. Oh, I designed the logo for the Vegas Chamber. Hello.
Oh,
So it used to be called the Las Vegas Metro Chamber of Commerce. And I said, I can't make a logo with that many words in it.
Nice.
So I know, right? My goodness. So they went to R&R and said, hey, what do you think about just being called the Vegas Chamber? And R&R thought that was a great idea. And so, yay, they liked my idea, backed by R&R, yay. And so when I was designing that logo, I met Noel, who was the graphic designer there, another great local graphic artist. And he said, where have you been? We need people like you to talk to us young designers about what to do and how to get through this crazy world we're living in. And so I joined the board and to try and help and mentor these young designers because I know it's really hard starting out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's my AIGA thing.
Awesome. Well, we love working with you guys, and we always go to your events as much. I go to your events as much as I can.
I go as much as I can as well.
Yeah. Yes, it was great having our last
more.
event.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm trying to go more, yeah.
We're going to try and do some really cool things. Dan and I have some really fun stuff planned for this year. Mm-hmm. We need more board members, though.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I'll help you out from behind.
Yes.
From the background.
Yeah, behind the scenes.
Out from the background. Behind the scenes. Yeah. But so we're coming to a close. What advice would you give designers now in this time of age? You know, we're going against AI. We're going with the big, the competition right now it's big. So what is the one advice you would give designers that are coming out of college and they're going to get into our industry?
Well, I would first say go to a really good college. I know a lot of young kids went to the AIGA of Las Vegas, and that was pretty difficult. All three
of us.
I think when they first opened, they had an interior designer teaching their graphic design class, and I was so upset. So I was on the advisory board for a while because I went to the one in Seattle, and they had amazing teachers. Took them a while to get it together, and so they were just robbing people of their money, and so go to a really good school. It's so competitive now. You need an exceptional education about design and type, and you need to think bigger. And then it should just be really something you're super passionate about. A lot of people go into it because, it sounds fun, I'll do that, and they don't have a real passion for art. I think one of the reasons I have been so blessed and successful is because I am a fine artist at my core. I wish I could be an amazing fine artist. So I consume so much fine art. I'm constantly looking at what's happening in New York. I'm constantly looking at San Francisco. I'm looking at, I'm just trying to consume as much of the goodness that's out there. And so when you're young as a designer, you don't really know to think outside your circle. And so I encourage young people to see what's happening like in different big cities, just like fine artists. I would say, go to New York, go to LA, go to Chicago, find the cool agencies, intern the shit out of everything you do. You should be interning the minute you go into school. Even if it's a free internship, that's the way you learn, especially nowadays. And a lot of people aren't doing internships like they used to, which is really a drag. Everybody should be doing that. And then more advice. Let's see. and then just, don't say no. Just be persistent. So many people drop a resume and you never hear from them again. Be persistent. And then try and think outside the box. Like, is a resume really a thing anymore? Like, why not send a video? Why not, do something different? Just try, and you got to kind of think outside the box nowadays because there's so much competition. So I think that would be a word of advice. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. I feel like you are a designer that does a bunch of stuff outside, but still inside of design, because you're doing all this like great like art stuff and your environmental design stuff, and like you're really passionate about that, and I can see it, and that's what you want to do now, and it's super awesome. I haven't met a designer that is so rounded like you. Usually the designers that I know are, always print or digital or, sketch artists, but you are like super well rounded.
Yeah, I have been very lucky to, it's really, Las Vegas is a very small town. It really kind of is, you know somebody who knows somebody, and you're just 10 degrees of separation. And when you meet people, that's another thing for these young people is networking. They don't, I know graphic artists are kind of recluse and don't like to go out and whatever. You have to get out there and meet people. That's how I've known so many clients is I'll ask people, hey, do you know anybody doing anything cool? That I can help out? I'm constantly talking to people to get bigger and better gigs, and that's how you do it. That's how another client, my fabulous client, Farhan Naqvi Injury Law. Yeah, he is such a great guy. He does so much philanthropy in the community. And I was at a philanthropy leader summit with my client and I talked to somebody there, and then the PR person was there and she referred me to Farhan, and I got to start doing his work that way, So again, I was at a conference. I met somebody. I started talking about what I do, and she's like, "Oh, I like you." And I work a lot with PR firms. PR firms always need graphic designers. The firm is called The Firm PR. It has been. I started working with them at Westwood Studios. They did all the PR for Westwood. Solveig, and she is still there, Solveig and Jason, and doing amazing stuff. And she gives me referrals all the time too, because they don't always have graphic designers on staff. And so so she introduced me to the other lady who introduced me to Farhan, so it was like
Yeah.
So really it's like about networking and just talking about yourself. Like, hey, I do design. This is what I've done. I'm really passionate about it. And through talking about it, this person sees, oh, I should hire this person, or I know somebody that's looking for this, and networking.
Yes, that is so important. And if there's something that you really want, like if there's a client you really want, you just got to keep following up till you get them,
Yeah.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Martin?
All right. So let's wrap it up, Martin.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Martin, it's past my bedtime.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No.
I got distracted for a second. I was like,
squirrel.
So yeah, I don't know. What do we say at the end, bro? I never do the end part. I haven't done it in a while, so I forgot.
Go with it. Go with it.
Zones out.
Thank you for watching us, guys. Victoria Hart, it's been awesome having you on. You're iconic. You're awesome. Like, you're such an inspiration, and I love that I got to meet you through AIGA. So remember, guys, network, and yeah, cool.
All right, signing out. Please don't forget to follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our content, like this video down below, and comment on our stuff. It really helps us out. Have a good night, everybody.